Teeth of Blackwater Bayou, Part 3. The Thing That Remained. The first time it killed, it did not remember why. It only knew that it needed to. It woke in mud that was thick, warm, and pressed against its face. It filled its mouth and clogged its throat. It dragged itself forward on trembling limbs, leaving behind something it did not understand it had lost, a leg, or what had once been one. The bone was shattered, hanging in pieces beneath torn flesh. The wound should have killed it, but it didn't. It breathed. Each breath came with a wet, bubbling sound, as if its lungs were filling and emptying at the same time. Its body spasmed with every inhale, muscles pulling in directions that no longer belonged to a single form. It was trying to become something it just didn't know what. The smell came first. It was blood, and it was not its own. The scent cut through everything: mud, rot, swamp water, and decay. It burned in its nose, dragged its head upward, and forced its body to move when it should have died where it laid. It crawled, then stumbled, then stood. Something inside it aligned. Bones cracked. The broken leg twisted, lengthened, and reset with a sound like branches snapping underfoot. The pain did not come in waves. It came all at once. It was total and blinding. It screamed. The sound shook the water. Birds burst from the trees, and something beneath the surface of the swamp fled. But the scream didn't stop, because it wasn't just pain. It was memory trying to come back, only to be torn apart before it could. It staggered forward and found the body. It was a man, face down in the mud, half submerged and still warm. The creature stopped. Something inside it hesitated. The shape of the man meant something. The position of the body meant something. The stillness meant something. But the smell meant more. It dropped to all fours. Its hands or claws or whatever they were now dug into the man's back and rolled him over. The face stared upward, eyes open, mouth filled with water and mud. The creature looked at him. For just a moment, something human surfaced. Recognition. Then the hunger swallowed it whole. It fed. It was not clean, and it was not quick. It tore. Flesh came away in wet strips, and bone cracked between its teeth. Blood ran down its chin, hot and thick, filling the spaces where its own blood had been lost. It did not stop when the body stopped being recognizable, nor did it stop when there was nothing left to eat. It only stopped when the hunger eased. When it leaned back, its body was different. It was stronger, more stable, and more complete. It stood upright, and for the first time since it had woken, it looked at itself. Its reflection stared back from a patch of still water. It was not a man, and it was not an animal. It was something that had tried to be both and failed. Its face shifted as it watched, muscles twitching and bones adjusting. The outline of a human form tried to push through, then collapsed back into something else. Its eyes stayed the same. They were blue, aware, and filled with something it could not name. It opened its mouth and tried to speak. What came out was a low, guttural sound that vibrated through its chest and into the water. It recoiled and ran. The bayou became its world, not because it chose it, but because nothing else would have it. Days passed, or perhaps nights. It did not understand time. It only understood cycles of hunger, movement, and pain. Sometimes when it moved through the trees, something would rise inside it. It would be a shape of thought, a word that almost formed, or a face, a woman, still, quiet, and watching. When that image came, its body would freeze and its breath would slow. Something inside it would pull back from the edge of violence. Then the hunger would return and erase it. It learned the bayou quickly. It learned where the water was deep, where the roots would trip it, where the animals nested, and where the men came. The men came less often as time passed. The first few came with rifles, their voices loud and confident, trying to convince themselves the thing they hunted could be understood. The creature watched them from the trees. It saw the way they moved, the way they held their weapons, and the way their eyes searched the darkness, but never high enough. It dropped among them without sound. The first man didn't even scream. The second fired once, wildly, before his throat opened. The third ran. The creature followed, not because it needed to, but because something inside it wanted to. It chased him through the water, mud, and roots that tore at his legs. The man stumbled, fell, and screamed. The creature slowed and watched him crawl. Something in that moment, in the desperation and the sound of breath breaking, felt familiar. The creature tilted its head. The man turned, and their eyes met. For a second, the creature remembered what it was like to be the one standing. It remembered being the one in control, the one who decided when the screaming stopped. It stepped forward and ended it. After that, the men stopped coming. Stories replaced them in whispers passed from one voice to another about something in the bayou. It was something that walked like a man, something that screamed like it remembered being one. They called it a thing, a monster, a devil. None of the words were wrong, but none of them were enough. Years passed. The creature grew, not in size, but in understanding. It learned what pain meant, and not just its own. It learned what fear smelled like, how it changed the air, and how it made prey easier to break. It learned silence, stillness, and patience. But sometimes, rarely, it learned something else. On certain nights, when the fog sat low and the air pressed heavy against the ground, it would hear something that did not belong to hunger. It was a soft, familiar sound. Small footsteps. It would stop and listen as the sound moved just beyond its sight, through the trees and across the water. It followed once, and only once. It found the tracks. They were small and bare, pressed into the mud with a weight that did not match the depth. They were not recent, but not old. They were just there. Beside them lay another set with longer toes and deeper impressions. They were not its own. The creature lowered its head and sniffed. Nothing. There was no scent. That frightened it more than anything. It backed away. That night, it didn't hunt. It climbed into the hollow of a fallen tree and stayed there until the sun rose, its body pressed tight and its breath shallow. Something in the bayou was watching it. It was something that did not fear it, something that remembered. The howling began again that night, not from hunger, but from something deeper. It came from something that had no word left to describe it. And far out in the swamp, where the water did not reflect the sky, something small moved through the trees. It was not hiding, and it was not running. It was waiting.